So Joaquin Torres is going to be Falcon. Falcon's now going to be Captain America. Captain America is now a bad guy, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in the MCU. We got a lot to talk about. What is up, Falcon and Winter Soldier fans? Welcome back to the channel. It's really early, and I'm very tired, but we're going to talk about Episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, all of the cameos and Easter eggs and references in this episode. Who is the character that Julia Louis-Dreyfus is playing? What does she mean for the future of the MCU? And where do we go from here? We set up some big things at the end of this episode. But let's start at the main beginning with the fight between John Walker, who is kind of running away from what happened in the last episode, and of course, Bucky and Falcon. And it was an intense fight. We got some music harkening back to Civil War. Obviously, the score has been very consistent and awesome throughout this show. And I'll tell you what, John Walker was doing a really good job against our heroes, to the point to where I sat back and said, I mean, there were a couple of swings here and there where he could have actually taken them down. Now, again, I love what they've been doing with Falcon here, using his suit and his wings to get things done, right? Obviously, he gets him ripped off at a point, but even at the end when he's trying to pull the shield off of John Walker's arm and eventually breaking that arm, he's kind of using that jetpack to do that because, again, he's a human. He has to use his wits and different things. He can't necessarily use super strength, so it's really cool that they're doing that. But overall, I thought the fight scene was really good, a great setup for this episode. I did get worried because I said, I hope this isn't the last of John Walker, and obviously it wasn't because we came back to him later on when he goes and visits the family, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But giving one of the best performances, I mean, say what you will about the character of John Walker and what he's doing and the turn and the decisions that he's making that, you know, are very opposite of what Captain America would do, but there's a part of us as an audience that's like, yeah, we understand the anger and the fury there because your best friend got killed, a character that I really liked in Battlestar. I was hoping we'd see more. And the person who did it, or the group responsible, at least they're still out there setting up big things for the next episode. So you see that anger and that fury. It's just the way he's going about it. And now, possibly being recruited by Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, who is a character by the name of Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine, and a rich history when it comes to being an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., a double agent at a point. And then at one point, she's known as Madam Hydra in the comics. She wears many skins, plays many different roles in the comic books, and clearly she is not playing a good role here. Now, whether or not we're going to explore her history, say, with a character like a Nick Fury, which is very prevalent in the comics, I don't know if that's going to come into play here, but she, at one point, worked for the good guys, and now it does look like she is kind of working for the other side. And we'll kind of skip through some of the things that she went through in S.H.I.E.L.D. and talk about the fact that she did, in the comic books, secretly join Hydra and took the identity of Madam Hydra. She manipulated Hydra into taking a powerful artifact from the Silver Samurai and then betrayed Hydra, and was discovered at one point to be a Russian sleeper agent throughout her entire career as S.H.I.E.L.D. So is she like a double or triple agent? Regardless, she has done a lot in the comic book, so whatever role she's playing, it does look like she's going to play somewhat of a mentor role to John Walker's character, and obviously with one episode left in this show, that's going to continue forward later on in the MCU. Now, where will he appear again specifically? Final episode, duh. But beyond that, maybe the rumored Thunderbolts TV show, something that will have to do with villainous characters, I'd say a super anti-team of sorts, unless they decide to do a straight-up U.S. agent TV show, which would be interesting as well. But clearly, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, not just a cameo, she is a character moving forward. Now, again, was that the big cameo that I was expecting that everybody was talking about? No, not necessarily. I mean, they plant those seeds, and they don't expect us to get super hyped about things that we were anticipating. Is it Mephisto? No. No, it's not. But it is cool to see Julia Louis-Dreyfus in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm interested to see her role going forward. Now, there are numerous things that happen in this episode, from going and working on the boat and having Sam and Bucky work together. Bucky also flirting with Sam's sister, and he did not like that one bit. And then you have what's going on with Carly in the background and kind of accepting the fact that she is now a villainous character, or at least, referred to as the bad guy. So why not work with a bad guy in Batroc the Leaper? But we hear earlier, Batroc is on the phone with Sharon. So is Sharon, I mean, we've been kind of, all right, we kind of feel like Sharon may be who they've been referring to all throughout the season, and it does indeed look like Sharon is pulling some strings here. So I'm thinking she may be the power broker. That's what I'm thinking. They've been building up to that. They've been setting us up for that. Do they swerve on that? Possibly, but it does look like Sharon is the one pulling some of these strings, which I'm curious to find out why. I'm curious to find out how she got involved with that. So that's definitely interesting going forward. And it's interesting that they continue to bring Batroc back. It does look like we're going to have a showdown between he and the Falcon, because he is very adamant about taking down Falcon. And then clearly we have our organization in the Flag Smashers kind of going in and taking things over at the end of that episode in the midst of New York City. Now that makes me sit back and go, okay, where's the other superheroes? But we're really focused on Bucky and Falcon. So we're going to see Falcon take the mantle of sorts of the new Captain America in this final episode. Obviously, Wakanda provided him with a beautiful new set of wings, which we have seen in some of the promos, and I can't wait to see him don that suit. And obviously, Bucky's going to come back. Side-by-side team up. Does John Walker come in at a point? Because I feel like he's not done with his revenge quest, so I think you're going to see pretty much every party except for Baron Zemo, because that man was taken away by the Wakandans. I love the scene between him and Bucky, by the way. Bucky, he's about to do it. He's about to pull the trigger, and then we see him pull the trigger, and of course, no bullets in the gun. So that was a very nice moment, and the Wakandans taking him back, and then, of course, bringing back the wings for Falcon. But let's talk about some of the other characters hit on in this episode. We do see Sam leave the wings with who is to be the future Falcon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Joaquin Torres, who does take over as the Falcon in the comics. And I've been wanting to see more of him throughout the show, right? They set him up, they planted some seeds, and then we kind of went away. I mean, there's a lot of subplots in this show, so I don't blame them. But it's nice to see him back. It's nice to see him in possession of the wings that don't necessarily work. But is he going to take those and maybe give himself an outfit? I think he is. I really do. And I think we're going to see him as the next Falcon now that Sam Wilson is kind of the new Captain America. So that's very exciting to see that. And then we have Isaiah Bradley. And Sam going back and having this conversation with him. And Isaiah very adamant about the fact that Sam, should not necessarily take that mantle because of how others are going to see him, because of how they saw him and what happened to Isaiah and what he had to go through and the repercussions of that. And Sam understanding that to a degree and even defending him a bit later on to his sister and saying, I get it. I understand what he went through, but our circumstances are a bit different, and now he can take that mantle and represent it in a different way. And I love that. I love the conversation there. I love hearing that backstory. I think Isaiah Bradley is a fascinating character. I would love to see maybe a miniseries based off of his life. I really would. I mean, we know how it ends, clearly, but that is just tragic. It's heartbreaking. It adds layers, to this series. And one thing I'll give to this series is, the show is based around Captain America, who is a very, and people are like, why is this, political, this and that, but that's kind of what Captain America is all about as a character. So to see them adding those layers to this show, I don't mind that at all. And then, of course, you have all of these different subplots and stories, and sometimes it can get overly convoluted. And I will admit, this wasn't the most fast-paced episode of all of them. It did slow down at points, and it was a bit longer. And I understand we have to get all of that backstory with the characters and the boat scene and Bucky and John Walker and all of these different things. So I think that, made it wasn't as impactful as maybe last week's episode, but it really is a lot of setup for this finale and these big showdowns that are going to take place, because really the only showdown we got in this episode was at the beginning, and it was awesome, don't get me wrong, and I love the music, but the rest was just kind of bridging the gap and leading us into other things and saying, here's your new Falcon, here's where John Walker's going, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, boom, boom, and then we're going into the finale. So I'm definitely interested to see what the finale does, how it ties it all in together. Again, I'm enjoying this show so far. It hasn't, completely hit the mark that I wanted it to hit because there is a lot going on, but I'm still interested in a lot of these subplots. I'm still interested in the plot threads that we're getting, and that's very exciting as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, just kind of being with me as I go through some of these major plot points, and stay tuned because I do have my reaction video coming out a bit later. Hey, if you guys want to support this video, tells me that you'd like to see more in general from Marvel and things coming to Disney Plus, drop your thumbs up down below. It helps this video, it helps this channel, and I just want to say I appreciate you tuning in every single Friday. Love getting up early and doing this, and I am very tired though. I'm very tired, so you guys are truly the best. I'll see you later.